This past few years, I worked with a lot of customers. And there's one important thing that I learned that I want to share with you. And that is that in sales, speed is everything. The faster you follow up, the more deals you close. Research shows that if you contact a lead within the first 5 minutes, you're 21 times more likely to turn them into a sales opportunity than if you wait 30 minutes to get in contact with them. But the problem here is that most businesses can't reply that fast. And I've been there myself, trust me. That is why I built this automation so that every lead you receive gets a quick and personalized response and feels valued right away. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to automate instant email follow-ups whenever someone fills out a form, whether you're using Google Forms, Fill Out, or even Airtable forms. This automation is perfect for startups, freelancers, nonprofits, and small teams who want a simple CRM alternative without paying for tools like HubSpot or Salesforce. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another tutorial here on the channel. My name is Will with LocodeSystems, where we help businesses grow by saving your team time and removing bottlenecks with custom automations, integrations, and apps. On our own website at LocodeSystems.com, as soon as a form is submitted, a personalized email goes out instantly. No delay, no manual work. This sounds really simple, but this one automation has helped us win more customers and deliver a better experience. And today, I'll show you how to build it yourself step by step. First, I'll give you a quick overview of the flow. Then I'm going to walk you through every step in Zapier. And finally, I'll show you how to put it all together so you can do it yourself. By the end of this video, you'll know how to set up a 24/7 lead conversion system that works with any form builder, responds instantly, and keeps your pipeline moving. And if you rather grab the template is ready for you at LocodeSystems.com. And if you have any questions on it, feel free to book your free 30-minute consultation with us. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. All right. So what we're looking here on your screen right now, it's the high-level flow of how it's going to work. So your trigger is going to be a new lead coming in through the form, being input into your Google Sheets, and it's going to create a new row, which is going to trigger the SAP. After it triggers the SAP, we're going to prep that data. So we're going to grab the email and we're going to add a www at the beginning. So for example, my email is will@locodesystems.com, is going to put www.locodesystems.com. And if they do put the company name in the form, even better. After we format the data, we're going to grab the company name. We're going to send it over to Perplexity to do the research for us. It's going to give us an overview of the industry, the headquarters are, what the size of the company is, and even revenue. And then other details that you're going to see when we start building the flow. Now, once we get those details by Perplexity, we're going to have another step in the flow that's going to push those details back into the Google Sheets. And then we're going to pull them back because we're going to use ChatGPT to format that data to create the thank you email that's going to be sent out to the lead and the research email that's going to go out to the sales team. So that's the overall flow of how it's going to work. Pretty simple. And so now let me show you the overall flow of how it looks in Zapier before we start building it. Okay, so this is the actual flow in Zapier, and let me zoom in here a little bit so you can see every step. The first step is going to be the Google Sheets. That's a new row being added, and that's going to trigger this whole flow. After we grab the data in the new row, we're going to use Code by Zapier, and we're going to be using JavaScript to format the data. Once we have the data formatted, we're going to be use a webhook by Zapier and send it to Perplexity to do the research for us. Once the research is completed, we're going to grab that. We're going to use AI by Zapier. We're going to be using ChatGPT. Then we're going to grab that formatted data, and we're going to put it back into the Google Sheets into the same row, but we're going to have some other fields that I'll show you here in a second, and we're going to update all those details. Once we updated the Google Sheets, that row, we're going to use AI by Zapier again, and that is ChatGPT Model 4, and we're going to analyze it and prep it to get it ready to send in the email. Once we have that, we're going to send the email to the lead, and that's going to have, hey, thank you for reaching out. We received your message, and it's going to have a button that they can click and book a 15-minute call. The next step is using AI by Zapier, using ChatGPT to format the email that's going to be going out to the sales team. Once we format it, we prep it, and then we send it out in an email to the sales team, and that's where the flow ends. All right, so now that you've seen the whole flow in Zapier, let's put it into action. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to submit a form request. So I have the form here that I created in Google Forms. Let's go ahead and input my name. And let's go ahead and add an email. So I'm going to be using will@LocodeSystems.com. All right, let's go ahead and add the company name. Let's add a message, hi. Let's go ahead and submit this. Once we submit the form, now we're going to get a new row added into our Google Sheets, which is going to trigger this flow, but it takes a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and trigger it myself. So I'm going to edit this draft and I want to go do a test run. Let's close this little message up here. Let's go ahead and refresh this data. All right, so you see we have a new row that just got created. So let's go ahead and select the row H and let's run a test on this one. So the test is going to start running. The row was added. Then we're going to prepare for research. We're going to send it over to the next step, which is going to be doing the research using Perplexity. Then we're going to send it back to ChatGPT to format that data and send it back to the Google Sheets. So after this next step is done, we can go back to our Google Sheets and you can see that it did the research for us. And now we have, the industry, we have how many employees, max employees, the revenue band, United States, we have the website, we have the description, the confidence score, and sources. That's anything like the company website or the LinkedIn, social media. Now let's go back to the flow and it seems like it's actually done. It sent out the 2 emails. The first email is going to be on your screen is going to be the one that's going to go out to the lead, and that's going to have thank you with the button. And the second one on your screen is going to be for the sales team, and that has all the research details that Perplexity gave us. We formatted it using ChatGPT, and now we sent it out to your sales team so they're ready for their first call with the customer. So that's how the overall flow works, and it's pretty nice. It has everything we need, and it keeps the conversation going with your lead, and it also prepares your sales team so they're not scrambling trying to do their own research. Instead, they already have the overall details of the company to talk about it. Now, if you need to add more details, you can always customize the flow as you need to, but that's the overall. Now it's time for us to build it. So I'm going to show you how to build it. If you just wanted to see how it works, you're good to go. But if you want to see me build it, go ahead and keep watching. And if you have any questions, go ahead and send me an email at will@LocodeSystems.com or book your free consultation over at LocodeSystems.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. All right, so let's start building. The first step is creating that form. You can use Google Forms, you can use Fill Out, or even Airtable Forms. But for this demo, I'm going to be using Google Forms. So go ahead and click on Google Forms and let's go create one from scratch. You can name it your company name. I'm going to be using mine. Let's add the first question, and that's going to be their name. So it's going to be name. This is going to be required. Let's add a second one. This is going to be email, which is also going to be required. Let's add another one. This is going to be for the company name. For this one, I'm not going to make it required, but in the flow, we do have the SAP checking whether they put an email, which is required, or if they put the company name. Another thing that I forgot to mention, I was showing you the flow, is that we're checking if they're using a generic email like Gmail or Yahoo is going to ignore those requests and is not going to do anything. So we exclude those, so it only focuses on domains that have business names. Let's go ahead and add the last one, and that's going to be the message. You can make this one required or not. I'm not going to make it required, but you can if you want to. For responses, let's go ahead and link it to a Google Sheets, and we're going to be creating a new Google Sheets. Let's go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to be naming it Demo Google Form. And if you already have one, you can select an existing spreadsheet in Google Sheets, but I'm going to create it from scratch. Go ahead and click Create. So now this sheet, if we click View, this is going to be linked to your Google form. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to add a few more fields into the demo Google form sheet that got created, because we're going to be storing other details that Perplexity is going to do the research for us, like company size, headquarters. So let's go ahead and add those fields. All right, so I went ahead and add them, and that's going to be your industry, employee minimum, employee maximum, the revenue band, where the headquarters are located at, the founded year, website of the company, the description, the confidence score, and sources. So if Perplexity finds their website or LinkedIn, social media, it puts them in here. Now you can add more if you want to, depending on what you want to research to send to your sales team for them to be ready for the call. You can add them into your sheet. So now that we have our Google Sheets created and we have every field that we want, now let's go back to Zapier and start building that flow. Okay, so our trigger is going to be a new form, a new row being added to the Google Sheets. So let's go ahead and select Google Sheets. Now we're going to select the trigger event, and that's going to be a new spreadsheet row. You can go ahead and select your account. I'm going to be using mine. Go ahead and click continue. Now we're going to select the spreadsheet that we want to use, and that's going to be for us the demo Google form that we created when we created the form. Is going to go to the worksheet for responses 1 because I only have one worksheet, and that's for form responses 1. You can name it if you want. I'm just going to leave it as is. Go back to your Zapier, say continue, test trigger. If it connects, then we're good. So there was no spreadsheet row found because we don't have any submitted yet, but let's go ahead and submit some. So let's go ahead and grab the link to this one. So let's go ahead and publish it. So it's going to publish. Let's go ahead and grab this URL and let's navigate to it. Let's submit a request. Oh, see, one thing that I messed up here is that this untitled question is an option as name, and we don't want that. So let's go back to our form and let's edit that real quick. For this question is going to be name, and we don't want it to be a multiple choice. We want it to be a short answer. So let's go ahead and leave it as is, and then let's make sure go ahead and save it, right? So now let's copy this link again and paste it, and now it's fixed. So let's go ahead and add our name. So this is going to be Will, company name is LocodeSystems, and then the message is going to be hi. All right, let's go ahead and submit this form. If we go back to our Google, now we have our record that came in. And let's go back to our Zapier and let's continue building this. So now if we test this trigger, it should find that new row that got added, and there it is. We have a spreadsheet row A because that's the one that has data in it so far. So let's continue with selected record, and let's create the next step. For the next step, we're going to be using Code by Zapier, and we're going to be choosing an action in that we're going to be running JavaScript. So go ahead and select run JavaScript, continue. So our inputs are going to be the email. Let's go ahead and select that spreadsheet, and we have to map it to our spreadsheet. So we're going to be mapping it to the email that we got when we got the request through the form. Let's go ahead and add another value, and that's going to be the company name. We are formatting the data so we can send that formatted data over to Perplexity to do the research. Now I'm going to be using some JavaScript here, and this is the code. It's going to exclude any public domains like Gmail, Yahoo. We're going to trim everything from the before the @ and we're going to be adding www.locodesystems.com, or if it's www.apple.com. Usually companies have a domain, so that's what we're doing here. Now let's go ahead and click continue, and let's go ahead and test it. All right, so it ran successfully. If you see, then now we have the domain, which is locodesystems.com. We don't have the will @ anymore. It just got the domain, and we stored it to the query target, which is our variable where we're storing the locodesystems.com for research with Perplexity. Okay, so now let's continue, and we're going to be adding a next step. And for this one, we're going to be using webhooks by Zapier. For action event, go ahead and choose custom request, click continue. Method is going to be post. For URL, let's go ahead and add the Perplexity API URL, and this is what this webhook is, what's going to do the research in Perplexity for us. That's why we're using the Perplexity API URL in here. For data paths, go ahead and select false. And for data, we're going to be pasting what we want Perplexity to do. So we're going to be using the model, then we're going to give it a message we're letting them know that you are a business data enrichment assistant, and we're only going to return a JSON with the exact fields of company name, website description, industry, employee count, estimate, minimum and maximum, and the revenue band, headquarters location, the founded year, confidence score, sources, and it's going to output this into a JSON. Then these fields are what we put into the Google Sheets. Now for query target, we're going to be selecting the variable which was on our JavaScript step. So let's go here and let's select the query target, which was storing our locodesystems.com. Let's go ahead and delete this one. And that's everything we're going to be needing here. For unflattening, make sure you select no. Now we're going to be adding the authentication for it to access our Perplexity account. So in headers, the first thing we want to put in is the authorization. We're going to be using the Perplexity API key from your account. Then we're going to be adding another variable, and that's going to be the content type, and we're going to give it this text of application /JSON. And for return raw response, we're going to say yes. Go ahead and click continue, and let's go ahead and test it. And there you go. The request was sent to webhooks by Zapier and it was successful. So now we can move on to the next step. So now that we have the research returned by Perplexity, we want to format that before we send it back to the Google Sheet. So for that step, we're going to be using AI by Zapier, and we're going to be using ChatGPT. So we're going to use custom prompt in the model. I'm going to stay with model 4 because that's the one I like. I already connected it to my account. So go ahead and I'm just going to click connect your own credentials. Let's give it the prompt. So I already have the prompt here. So what this is going to be doing, it's where the input and the response, we're going to be using the response that we got from our previous step, which was the webhook and in Perplexity. So that was the response, right? What it returned. Next thing we're going to be using is going to be the name and the email. And what this is doing is going to grab that response. We're going to format it and we're going to put it back into the Google Sheet. So as you see here now, it's name, email, company, industry, employees. And let's go ahead and for name, we're going to be selecting the name that we used the first time that row was added into Google Sheets. So it's going to be name, and then we're also going to be adding the email here. Also give it the original message that we got. So let's go ahead and add this and add the message. And what we're doing here by adding that is when we send this information back into Google Sheets, into the new row, if we don't select the name and email and message that we got when we first got the request, those is going to write over it and is going to be empty. So that's why we want to add those, because we wanted to put this back into Google Sheets plus the research that it came back with, like the industry, employees, the revenue, headquarters, founder year, the confidence score. All right, so now that's all we need here. Let's close this out. Now we're going to be needing some output fields, and let's go ahead and generate them automatically with the prompt using AI. So the first one, we don't need this one. So it's going to, we can also add new fields. So we're going to be adding a company name here because that's what we're sending. And this is going to be a text. Now let's go ahead and click generate preview and let's make sure it's working. All right, and it is working. So it formatted it well. And this is what's going to be included in the message that is going to go into your sales team. Now the next step is going to be sending these details back into the Google Sheets. So let's go ahead and select Google Sheets. The event trigger is going to be update spreadsheet rows. Select your Google Sheet, it's already selected, continue. Let's go ahead and select for my Google Drive. The spreadsheet is going to be the demo Google Forms. For row, go ahead and select this one. Let's go ahead and select the timestamp. So we're just mapping the fields here that we're going to be sending into Google Sheets. So let's review this. So what I did here, I'm sending the data that was returned by the AI by Zapier step, where we use ChatGPT to format the data that was returned by Perplexity. And for timestamp, name, email, company, and message, we use the same that we grabbed from when the form came in. It put that data into Google Sheets. We put in the same fields within here. But for industry, employee minimum, we didn't have anything in our Google Sheet, so we want to update that row with this new data that we got from Perplexity and was formatted by ChatGPT. So let's hit continue and let's retest this step. And there you go, now it got added. So now we go back to our sheet, all this data has been updated, and that's what we want. So let's go back to our Zapier step and let's go ahead and add the next step. This is going to be another step, AI by Zapier. We're going to be using ChatGPT, so let's make sure that we are connected to our account. You can use it. And we're going to be using this following prompt. So we're going to be telling ChatGPT to output a strict JSON file that's going to have the subject line and is going to have an HTML body. Now we want to give it rules. So we need to have a greeting, so which is going to say hi plus the variable, that's the name of the person that submitted the form. The next line is going to be exactly saying just thank you for reaching out to LocodeSystems, right? And now we want to give it some variables. So the first one is going to be the name. So that's going to be name of the person that submitted the form. We want the company name, right? This is going to be, for me, LocodeSystems, the industry. And we want to make sure we grab this from the where it updated the row in the Google Sheets. So make sure that you're grabbing it from step 5. So that's going to be the industry. We're going to grab the message, and let's search message. So it's going to be the message that they put in when they submitted the form, and the booking link. So I have a booking link, and this is just includes our LocodeSystems.com/contact, which is this form right. So I grabbed this reach out form and I embedded it, I formatted into Zapier, so you can grab your contact form and create a booking link. So you can attach, and this is what it's going to use to create the button that's going to say book a free 15-minute session with us. So we're going to make sure we add the booking link. We only need one, so let's go ahead and delete that one. Then we're going to give it a task. So we're asking it to write a concise between 120 and 170 words of welcome email. We want to pass this variable, which is going to be the name, and is going to reference the lead's company name, and is going to acknowledge their message, and then is going to, I just gave it some instructions to put it into the next line so it looks more clean. And is going to have a call to action button, and that's going to be an HTML button that's going to say book a 15-minute intro call, and is going to link it to the booking URL that I put into the booking link. Now it's going to only return one JSON file with a subject, an HTML body, and I have some HTML rules that I'm giving it, right? Some I want what font I want, the color of the button that I want, and that's it. For output fields, we just need to add one, and it's just going to be HTML body, and we're going to make sure it's required. Go ahead and click save, and let's go ahead and see if it works. So generate. So what it is doing right now is running through the model, like if you would give it a prompt using ChatGPT. It's running through it, and then it's going to give us a formatted answer, just like if you were using it. So it gave us a response in an HTML body format. So as you see, we have formatted here. It has my name, and this just looks messy, but it'll look better in the next step. So let's go ahead and exit from here. And now we're ready to add the step where we're going to send the email to the lead. So let's go ahead and set it up. The action event is going to be sending out the email. So it's going to be send email. We're going to be selecting the account from where you want it to go from. So I'm going to be using mine. And let's go ahead and click continue. And we're going to send it to. So that's going to be the email that we grab from who submitted the form. Let's leave the send message to Google Contacts as false. We don't want to CCC anybody or BCC, but if you have anybody to CCC, such as your manager or people that need to be involved, you can do that. Now in the from section, we're going to be selecting my email, but if you have an email that you use to contact your customers or your leads, you can use that in here. Now you can add a name if you want, a reply to. For subject line, we're going to be just putting in a message, thank you for reaching out. And let's add the name of the person that was reaching out. And in body, we're going to be using the variable that we created, or the output that we created in our previous step, which was the HTML body, where we're storing the answer that we got from ChatGPT. Now, if you want, you can add a signature if you want. I don't have anything else to do. You can add an attachment if you want, but let's go ahead and click continue. And let's go ahead and test this step. And the email was sent. So let me check my inbox and I'll show you how that looks. So here it is. This is the message that was sent to the lead. So it's saying, thank you for reaching out, the name of the lead, which was me. Then it's going to say, hi, my name. Thank you for reaching out to LocodeSystems, and it's going to acknowledge your message. And it's going to say, at LocodeSystems, we specialize in software and IT service, particularly in e-commerce and automation. We are excited to discuss how we can assist further. And it's going to give them the option of booking a 15-minute call if they want to. So that's the message going out to the lead. So now let's go ahead and get the email that's going to go out to your sales ready. So let's go ahead and exit from here, and let's add another step. And this is going to be AI by Zapier, because we want to prep and format this email that's going to be sending out to your sales team. So I'm going to be using this form, and it's similar to the other one that was using. So I'm giving it some rules that it needs. We're going to be adding the variables. So I have all the variables here that we're going to be putting into the email that's going to be going out to the salespeople. Then we're going to give it a task. So we're going to give it a subject, new lead, the company name. We're going to give it the body, the new lead via Google form. And in the body, we're going to add the name, the email, company, industry, and the description, sources. That's all they're going to need for their first call. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to fill all these variables out. For the name, we're going to be grabbing this from our Google Sheets as well as the lead email. But for the rest of them, we're going to be grabbing them from the previous step where we got that response from ChatGPT. So for company name, actually for this one, you can also use the one that was pushed into Google Sheets. So we can do company name, and then the industry. That's going to come from the research that we got when we formatted. So we have here from analyze and return data, in AI by Zapier. We're going to grab this industry. Once you added all the variables, let's go ahead and generate a preview to make sure it's working. So it's sending this prompt over to ChatGPT, and is going to return an output here. So we got an output here for the email that we're going to be sending to our salespeople. Let's get out of this one, and let's add the last step, and that's going to be creating the Gmail. So the event is going to be sending an email. So send email from our account. So on the 2, we're going to be using the same email, which was will at LocodeSystems.com, and that's my email just for this test. We don't want to CC anybody from. We're going to be sending it from my account. One thing that I forgot to do in our previous step is add some outputs here. And the first one is going to be a subject line, and then the next one is going to be an HTML body. So HTML body. Hit save, and let's go ahead and click finish. And now let's move on to the next step. So let's finish this one. So we're going to be returning that subject line that we created. So now if you look for it, it should be here. So we have the subject, and then we're going to turn the body into an HTML, and let's add the output where we store that in our previous step, the HTML body. And we're good. We don't want to add a signature or anything else. So let's hit continue, and let's test this step. And the email was sent. Let me check my account and show you how it looks. And this is how the email is going to look. It's going to go out to, this example is going out to me, but if you had one, like an email domain that says sales at LocodeSystems.com, you're going to, or at whatever domain your company is, and it's going to give it the name of the lead, the email company, the industry, the employees, the revenue, where the headquarters are, the founded year, the confidence score, and it's going to give them a description of what they do, right, and sources that Perplexity found when it was doing their research. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you need the template, head over to LocodeSystems.com. If you have any issues, reach out to me directly at will@LocodeSystems.com, or go over to the website and book your free 30-minute call with us. We are happy to answer any questions that you may have, happy to help out in any way that we can. So that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. My name is Will, and I'll see you in the next one.